Hi, everyone. Um, Welcome back to one of our episodes again for E-XPO. Um, we welcome everyone that's watching today or that it's watching at a later time. Thank you for taking the time to spend some time with us and just kind of learning a little bit more. We're kind of all learning together, so it's important that we're doing this so that we can share with different people and share different knowledge that we can bring into this platform. So we thank you for this time, and today we have a really interesting topic that we're gonna be covering. Um, and we also have our a team of hosts that we've seen before. So let's get started. And my name is Daniel. I'm with Endure Painting. We do painting and for residential, commercial, and HOA properties, and we pretty much do interior, exterior. But that's enough of me. Let's go over with Brian.
Hi, my name is Brian Garcia with Restoration Management Company. We are a full-service disaster recovery company, so we take care of fires, floods, biohazards, asbestos, lead, things like that. We do all the cleanup and rebuild for commercial and residential multifamily properties. Thank you.
Thank you. Aneta.
Oh, hi. Aneta here with Bancal Property Management. I'm one of the community association managers. We are a property management company in San Francisco. We manage rental units as well as HOAs. Yeah, nice to meet you all.
Thank you. And we also have Daisy.
Hi, I'm Daisy. I'm a marketing manager at Construction and Roofing. We're a general contractor and we do interior renovations, exterior decay repairs, and roofing.
Thank you. We also have a good friend, Mark.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. I'm Mark Owens with Reliant Construction Management. We are a full construction management firm that services the entire Bay Area. Our clientels are HOAs, include HOAs, single-family unit owners, apartment buildings, and we do everything from developing scopes of work to managing small, large projects, defect reconstruction projects, capital improvements, catastrophic losses, and as well as we assess risk management and just interface with our clients to give them the best possible construction management services available. And again, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you. And before we introduce our guest speaker today, I just want to tell you that at the bottom of this screen, we have a phone number that you can text your email, your name, your email, and there is a chance for you to win a prize. And so feel free to do that at some point. Also, there is a comment box. We're live on YouTube, and so feel free to, if you have any questions, if there's any topics that you like to hear about, feel free to share them on your comments, and we'll be glad to answer those questions either now, or we can probably take those questions and discuss them on the next on our next E-XPO. But without further ado, we want to introduce our guest speaker. It's Jeff Radzinski from IQB Construction.
He's muted.
Oh, and I think we have him mute. I think he's muted. There you go.
Hi. Thanks for having me. Appreciate being here.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Jeff. You want to? So today we have Jeff here because we wanted to talk about. We have a one specific topic, and this is in regards to increased cost. We see that due to the pandemic, our main topic is the new normal, and in this time we're noticing that there's an increase of cost. There is a snowball that's happening, and that's gonna continue to happen in terms of this increase of cost due to the pandemic. And so we want to kind of share with our viewers, with managers, with clients, how that's going to look like, and what we're going to see in terms of prices and what to expect. So we have Jeff here, and he's with IQE Construction, and he's a sales and estimator. So he's seen that difference. So Jeff, would you kind of share with us a little bit of that?
Sure. Let me first dispel the myth of me being a sales or estimator. I think Daisy's marketing is too good. I'm the CEO of the company. My background is actually more on the accounting side. That's what my degree is in. I started in public accounting out of college, and somehow wound up owning a construction company. So I can start off by saying, first off, that it's kind of a brave new world for all of us, and so this is not something that I don't think anybody that I know of has dealt with before to this extent. And we are actually our customers are actually asking us, because they're anticipating these cost increases, what is the cost impact going to be to my project? And what all does that entail? And so, we basically have thrown a 2% number onto our bids, and we feel that's actually conservative. We don't feel that that's going to cover all of our costs. But like I said before, we don't know exactly what those are. We're just now, within the last month and a half, started tracking that. And the way that we do that is we set up a separate what we call phase code or a cost code on our projects, and are charging these items as they come up as best we can to that cost code, so we can kind of separate it out and take a look at that separately. But just going down, the first time that we got asked for it was one of our construction managers asked us for it, and I just went down our protocols and kind of listed out, not in terms of any real dollars, but just where we're going to see increased cost. So for instance, one of the things we have to do on all of our jobs is to assign a COVID-19 supervisor, right? That's a labor hit. That's going to cost us extra labor money. How much money? I honestly couldn't tell you, but it is going to be an increase in cost. Hopefully in the next, hopefully this thing doesn't last that long, but if it does, we can kind of track it and be able to say, okay, that is, it's adding an extra 1% to our labor cost. Posting site-specific health and safety plans at all the entrances and exits. I mean, some of our jobs are personally, ours are really large, and you're looking at a community, you're looking at a good-sized community. I mean, how many entrances and exits are there? Now we've got to kind of be more specific about where we're working, be more careful about roping off areas, not in terms of really the true safety impact like we would have before, to make sure nobody gets hit by debris, or to make sure that our workers are working as efficiently as possible and not getting in the way. It becomes broader, right? And so we've got to be more conscientious of that, and we've got to increase the area. We've got to fill out daily attendance logs. We've got to complete daily screening protocols. And one of the ways that we've done that is we've added it to our timekeeping system. So that was a cost. In essence, you're developing kind of a mini app for the phone, at least the way that we track time, so that every morning the guys, it pops up on their phone as they go to clock in and says, hey, do you have any of these, can you answer no to all of these questions? If not, see your supervisor. The personal protective equipment. Everybody's got to have masks. Everybody in some cases have to have the visors. Cleaning and disinfecting. There's another labor cost and a material cost, because now we've got to buy all this stuff. We've got to clean the porta potties, the tools, anything that's getting used. Maintaining 6 feet of separation. How do you calculate that in terms of costs? Before this, we were shoulder to shoulder on the roofs, or doing siding or working on a deck. Now you've got to maintain the 6 feet of separation. It's a lot less efficient way of finishing your project.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and then on the larger jobs, you've got other protocols, daily verification of compliance. You know, that's a labor and material item. And then third party job site safety accountability supervisor. That's not free. That's our safety company that they're charging us. That I can tell you, they're charging us. I think it's about an extra $1,500 a month to be our third party JSAS. So, you know, at the end of the day, you know, you look at all this, and I'm looking at it right now. I'm going, you know, 2% is probably a pretty conservative number in terms of what it's actually costing us.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I was gonna say that's pretty generous. 2%, based on all the things that you've just you just mentioned. Yeah.
So,
right.
Jeff, jumping in, I mean, you said 2%. So, I mean, obviously, this is increased cost of whether you're currently passing that additional cost on to your existing clients and projects.
Right.
So I can see no reason why you couldn't. But if you have to, because of that, maybe up front, are you actually submitting sort of a change order or something else to kind of account for these until you kind of get a better understanding and maybe have just sort of a standard percentage in your general conditions? Just curious about that, how you're handling that.
Yes. So for existing jobs, depending on the length of the job, you know, some of it we're absorbing, to be honest. It's going to take us more to write the change order and kind of follow up and everything that it is in the cost. But on the larger jobs, absolutely, we're issuing change orders and discussing with the client. We're not just, you know, blindly mailing them out. It's like, hey, you know, going through this, basically, here's all the things that we have to do additionally to keep your job site safe and to keep our workers safe. So yeah, on the existing and the long-term ones, and then for any new bids that are going out, yeah, we're including it in the general conditions.
Yeah.
I have a question for you. So have you tried reaching out to your insurance providers to see if they'll be willing to cover the cost of, you know, PPE? I think with some companies are willing to, their insurance carriers are willing to do that, but just curious to know, have you ever tried reaching out to them?
We have not. The material side of the PPE, the masks, and we don't use a lot of face shields, but we have some. That's kind of minimal in terms of the overall. The labor is really what's driving this. But that's a good idea. I will certainly broach it with our broker.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, you know, I think, Aneta, you pointed a good subject that I was just speaking to a good friend of mine. He's a insurance advisor, and we were talking about, you know, the fact that, and I think we talked about this too. I think two episodes back where we had Chris Carmichael, you know, kind of showing us that these cases of COVID-19, they can go into workers' comp and they'll have a different claim. And so, you know, the government said, someone has to pay for this. Let's have the insurance pay for it, right? And so the insurance is not too happy about this, and they're not going to be so happy about having to pay all this and realizing, you know, that there's be more cases now at workplaces. And so eventually what's going to happen, what he was telling me, is that in the next year, when when revising our costs for insurance, you know, guess who's going to have to pay for it? You know, they're not going to pay for it. They might front it right now, but eventually they'll have, you know, they'll kick it back to the companies to cover this cost. So, you know, we can ask them to pay for some things, but eventually it's gonna kick back to us. It's gonna always go back to the ultimate consumer at some point, because it's gonna go back to us, and then we're gonna have to increase our cost, right? And it's gonna go back to we're all ultimate consumers. You know, whether it's right now as you know, we're painting a house or reconstructing a roofing, or later we're doing our own kitchen remodel, and we end up, you know, having to pay for those costs. So what he was telling me is that we have to prepare for that now, to realize that those costs are gonna come up at some point. And so that 2% that we're talking about, it may be right now for the these things that are PPE and the things that Jeff, you mentioned, but later it's gonna be with the insurance, and it's not gonna go down anymore. So that's a really good point about the insurance. I don't know, Jeff, if you've see this happening in the future.
Oh, absolutely. And our broker actually talked about it. We renewed on 7/6, but he basically said, who knows what it's going to be with the next year once they start tallying all these COVID cases and losses that are flowing through into the workers' comp, and I'm sure insurance companies are great at wangling as much as they can out of you. So who knows? It might show up in the general liability and the auto as well. Who knows? But definitely the workers' comp.
It's definitely
yeah. This is definitely gonna be a snowball that is just it's gonna keep growing, and and so we gotta prepare customers to understand that and realize like how that's gonna affect and how they're gonna see that, because they'll see other smaller companies or customers that haven't realized this this cost. And managers, for instance, they have a budget that they've planned for 5 years ago, right? So right now they're gonna hope that they stay within that budget, but it's not realistic. It's not gonna happen. And in that attempt to stay within the budget, they might have to get other companies that will charge them less, and that perhaps they're not following the protocols as they should, or that they're not aware of this cost. And then when they realize all the things that they have to do, they're in the middle of the job, and they're gonna have to, they're gonna try to find ways to cut corners and find ways to save money and change their products, or either way. So preparing and teaching people and letting people know about this is, I think, is crucial.
I think that's a good point, Daniel. This is just like anything else right now. Clear lines of communication are incredibly important, and making sure that we're staying in contact with our customers and letting them know exactly what's going on and why they're seeing these increases in costs. One of the things that needs to be explained to them is that it's not just our internal increase in cost, but it's also the increase in cost from our vendors and our suppliers, and how those costs are going to compound. And unfortunately, those costs are going to cascade to the end client. So, but again, part of that is keeping that line of communication open and making sure that we talk to our customers, to our property managers and to our homeowners or to our business owners. This is what's going on. This is why you're seeing this, and just letting them, or helping them understand and working with them on their budgets. This is budget season for a lot of people right now.
Yeah.
Oh, totally.
So, making sure that we talk to them and we sit down and we say, okay, well, look, let's work on this and let's figure it out, because expect if we're lucky, a 2%, but expect more like a 10% in the long run, or possibly more. We don't know yet.
Yeah.
But making sure that we communicate that information, I think right now is just absolutely one of the most important things we can do for our customers.
Agreed. And also, this is probably another topic, or maybe an ancillary, but it's adjacent to this, is and the time increase.
Yes.
Because all this, in addition to the implementation of everything, and also getting materials and supply chains and things like that in the time frame of that has all been impacted. But definitely, even just from a project perspective that you're on, and Jeff, I'm sure you can, and even Daisy can talk about this or just share this, and Daniel too, and Brian, that what would be your, I say it was a 6-week project, is now maybe 8 or 10 weeks because of just the added issues going on with getting materials in or all the stuff that you need to do as you're doing your work, which is increasing the time because you got to disinfect, you got to do all the other things that you got to do.
Right. Yeah, one of the biggest things that we're seeing in terms of schedule impact, it's not, I mean, there is some additional cost in terms of general conditions if we have to have like a porta potty out there for an additional length of time, but are the inspections. You know, we're not able to get inspections in a timely fashion because of the protocols that the cities and other jurisdictions have put in place. And so it's like, in some cases, it's like pulling teeth to get somebody out there to sign off on your permit.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's there's a lot of different increase that we've seen, increase in budgets, increase in time frames, like you said, and that Mark, that's a good topic we can probably touch. But I was gonna ask Aneta, have you had like vendors that approach you and kind of show these things to you, and they show you this, and they kind of tell you, here's what the difference now in cost is?
I haven't seen it. I mean, with some vendors, they've like sent like they separate the invoices, like the job, and separate the supplies for invoices, and I would say like the cost hasn't been like really crazy. I mean, I feel like it's reasonable so far. Like with some of my HOAs, like they are willing to pay more, because they understand like there's safety precautions that like all vendors have to take, and so they're willing to pay more. And then with other HOAs, like they're just kind of like cheap and don't want to deal with it.
Yeah, that's exactly, yeah. I'm sure that we have like both ends right there.
Yeah, it really depends on the HOA. Yeah. Some are paranoid, just want to make sure they're all contractors are following all protocols, and there's some who are just like, if they see like a high dollar amount, they're just like, don't want to deal with it.
Right.
And I think that's a good topic there. And that goes back to making sure that we're communicating clearly. There unfortunately will be some people who will try to undercut their costs by skimping out on protocols, skimping out on whatever it is.
Yeah.
And we obviously don't want that to happen, right? Our job is to make sure that we give the best quality service, best quality jobs we can to our customers. Right. So, part of that is when we run into those kind of situations where a client is saying, well, that's, why is this so expensive? We don't want to pay that money, is being able to get in front of them and speak to them and talk to them about why the cost is what it is, and making sure that they understand all the things that we're going through to make sure that they are safe and our people are safe, and they're being served in the best way possible.
Yeah. So
that's something that I think all of us across the board want to work closely with our property managers and help you out, because we know that you run into these difficulties. You get the brunt of the anger. So we want to, obviously, we want to work with you and make sure that how can we help you? What's the best way for us to help you communicate this to your clients?
Yeah, a lot of people are very cost conscious because of this.
Yeah.
Jeff, have you done any or like changes to your proposals where you're showing or you're having to show your customers those difference in prices? Or
it's a kind of a case-by-case basis. As a general rule of thumb, we haven't. We look at the bid, and especially the larger ones, we'll call it out as a line item. But if it's a smaller one, we'll just wrap it into the general conditions. I mean, we are already starting to see, I don't know, they don't obviously advertise it, but I mean, our suppliers, especially the like plywood and some of the lumber have just in the last few weeks really kind of gone through the roof in terms of a percentage. I think plywood's up like 25% or something like that, and depending on which product you're looking at. And again, we don't have visibility into what their COVID increase is, but I'm sure there's some of that in there.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. This is, I want to stress the same thing, that it's big snowball.
Yes.
That's going to happen because any other vendor or our, suppliers, they also have employees. And if they have an employee that got sick and got delayed, or, things like that happen, or their insurance is going to increase their cost, or they're going to have to, kick it back to their material cost, and then it's going to go into us, and then we're going to have to charge, the extra. And it's just going to, again, the snowball is going to keep going on any company. The insurance company is everywhere, right? It's on, there is no company that can be without an insurance. So they're everywhere, and that's going to affect everyone. So, just being prepared, letting everyone know, and having people understand what those costs are going to be is super important. Jeff, do you have anything else you want to share with us before we take off?
No, I don't think so. I think what you said is key, though. Is just it's being transparent and communicating as much as possible, as much as in terms of what's going on, so that everybody has the same, everybody's on the same page.
Yeah. Thank you, Jeff, for being here with us today and taking
Thank
this
you.
time. I know you guys are super busy right now, and taking this time, it was probably hard to do, but thank you. And again, we have the comments on the side, so feel free to put any comments there that you may have for the future, or any questions that you have. We can answer them right now if you post them now. And as well, we have the number at the bottom that you can text your contact info, name, and email, and we can put you on a small raffle that we have going on for a while now. Thank you so much, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
Okay.
Anyone have anything to say before we take off?
Jeff, for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Well, hey, thanks for having me. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
Take care, guys.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good one.
Yeah,
See you in the
you too.
next.
Bye, everybody.